Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Barry Spencer on the line, and he's CEO and co-creator of Wealth with No Regrets. Barry, welcome to the show.
Hey, Adam, thanks for having me on. Great to be with you.
All right, Barry, so excited to really get into today's topic and to dive into Wealth with No Regrets. But before we get started with that, we'll start this show the way we start them all with our Mission Matters Minute. So, Barry, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's our mission. Barry, what mission matters to you?
Well, absolutely. I mean, making people's vision of their future happen by removing the obstacles that stand in their way and impede them from having the kind of bigger impact with their life that they want to have. And I could pretty simply say it like this. Maybe you've done or seen someone put together a 1,000-piece puzzle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, imagine putting that 1,000-piece puzzle together without the picture on the front of the box.
Yeah.
For us, at Wealth with No Regrets, we help people clarify what that picture of that future of that box looks like so they can put all the financial pieces together so they can have that picture and they can do it without regret.
It's awesome. Love bringing mission-based individuals on the line to share, why they do what they do, like what gets them fired up to get out there in the marketplace and really just to make a difference in the world. So awesome having you on the show, Barry. And I guess first thing that came to my mind as I was kind of preparing for this is Wealth with No Regrets, just the name of the company in general. I mean, tell me about that. Amazing name, by the way.
Well, it really comes out of a passion story. My father lost a battle with cancer at the age of 62. So he had hit his period of retirement age and had done everything he was supposed to do and everything he could do. He's a very successful entrepreneur and business owner himself, had accumulated enough assets to be okay financially for he and my mom to live a long life, and had enough resources set aside for my mom to be okay financially, and had done his job that he thought next was go hire a couple of advisors and did what so many do, right? They think they got to diversify among advisors. So 1, 2, 3, and my dad had those different financial advisors, CPAs, attorneys, and the like. And yet when he passed away, and before he passed away, he said, "Barry, you're going to need to take care of Mom." And a strange comment from my father because he was a very diligent man, very successful, thoughtful, conscientious. And so the fact that he would need to say that didn't dawn on me till after the fact. And I inherited the advisors and what they had put together. And what I found was a really, the elements of a broken industry that was so engrossed in what they wanted and what they was in it for them that it was not what was in it for the client, my father. And as a result, it just sent me on this course of action to understand what was there, what was missing, and also in so doing, protect my mom at the same time and honor my father in the process. And my father passed what I think was regret, and what the family experienced was regret, though they had the resources to not experience that. I don't want anyone to go through that or experience that.
No, it's a lot behind that, and I find many of the great brands I've had the honor of interviewing, and just entrepreneurs, when you get into their story and like why they are out there and looking to make a difference, I feel like there's always something more behind it. Like the people that really go out there and do it, that there's some need or some want to really make a difference in whatever the chosen niche is. So thank you for sharing that. And just I guess going through a little bit further into this, like first off, tell us a little bit more about the platform overall. So Wealth with No Regrets.
Sure. Well, over the years, we have worked to refine a process that we feel like really gets a predictable result for people who have been successful business owner, entrepreneur, professional, executives. So they've worked hard, they've done their job, and they've reached a point where they should be okay. They should be enough successful financially to be set. And so we've refined a process that helps them go through that process they need to be able to make really sound financial decisions that are a work for them, which by the analogy I started at the beginning by saying that, it's really finding that picture of the future and what they want their life to look like. and then building all the pieces of the financial world to match up with that picture, their picture, not my picture, not someone else's idea, but their picture of that future. And so Wealth with No Regrets is our process to bring all that together. So at the end, people can go, I got it. This is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. And this is how it works for me and why it benefits me. And that's really the purpose and drive behind the process itself for the folks that we get a chance to serve.
And so as you've kind of refined this process, and I don't want to oversimplify this because I know there's a lot of things that are different when you're working with different families or just different individuals in general, but I do know that certain themes kind of arise when you're working with people over time, and you kind of see certain patterns. Like as you've kind of gone further along this path, like what are some of those common themes or maybe even myths or misinterpretations of wealth in general and finance and how people manage their money? Like what are some common themes that you found has come out?
Well, let me state this, that I think is a part of the process. We've kind of honed in on what we call 5 dimensions that are absolutely essential. It doesn't cover everything, but it's the 5 core dimensions that must be incorporated into planning and into a thoughtful process. So, for instance, I'll give you a couple of them. We can talk more about them, or I can go into more. But number 1 is the five dimensions is 1, diminishing taxes. Number 2 is designing a lifestyle that you love and want to be a part of. Number 3 is developing an income stream that helps people accomplish the lifestyle they want. Number 4 is getting downside protection for their money so they can live confidently. And number 5 is dedicating growth money. Dedicating resources to growth over time. Because no matter how much you have, everyone says, I want to make sure, number 1, I never run out of money, and number 2, I'm never burdened on my family. So that's a big piece of it. But all 5 together, you should know where you are today and where you could be in the future if you really dug into those to discern and decipher where the opportunities and challenges are within those.
Do you think are there, when I look at your model versus, let's just say traditional finance or traditional planning process, do you feel there's any like shortcomings there, or can you kind of juxtapose where you feel some of the difference maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question too, Adam, because I believe, and my experience was, and what I've seen with so many, that the industry itself is really broken. I'll say broken. It's the best way I can think to describe it, in that it's very self-centered, self-serving, and siloed. And by that I mean that, in one area you have the person that's constantly selling a product. You have another person that's constantly selling a portfolio. It's just about money management. And then the industry as a whole, within those groups and outside those groups, that they fall in another role, are pushy. And that's really what I encapsulate as kind of the brokenness of the industry and why so many people fall short of what's possible for them.
Yeah, and I think, just to maybe elaborate and just add a second and confirm what you're saying, it's not that, and I always tell people this, it's not that it's, there are bad people in the industry. People want to help. So no matter what their product is, what their angle is, all these things, it's a systemic thing. It's the industry as a whole. So I'll speak for myself. If I had the pleasure and luxury of working for some really great companies that did great work, but maybe I had some colleagues that worked for companies that had a little bit more limitation. And if you grew up in the industry and you only know one thing, maybe you don't know other products exist. Maybe you don't know there's other alternatives. Maybe you don't know that some of the things that you may be representing aren't always the best fit. And so it could be a lack of knowledge thing. It's just such a complex industry. So it's not that people aren't out there with the right heart to do good or to help their clients. It's just that the industry as a system, is a systemic problem, and what's possible depending on what model you operate under, and a lot of other complexities we won't go through here. But I just wanted to bring that out because it's not like we're picking anybody saying they're doing anything wrong. It's just saying that the industry, has a lot of room for improvement. Am I off on this, Barry? I just wanted to go a little further with that one.
Adam, you're exactly spot on, and I think there's a lot of well-intentioned, well-meaning people. Certainly the folks that served our family were well-intentioned and well-meaning, but I believe the industry is driven by product manufacturers. You have the
A mutual fund's a
manufacturer.
product. So, for example, I tell people this all the time, a mutual fund is a product that was designed by people that design products that wasn't here at one point. So just for example, right?
Oh, absolutely. Whether it's insurance, annuities,
Yeah,
long-term care, a mutual fund, an ETF, all of those are products. Any kind of portfolio that people put together and say, hey, this is a long-short hedge fund. This is a large cap equity, whatever. These are all products of the industry. And the problem is people as advisors, they're trained by those product manufacturers, and then they got to take the client and go fit them into the product. And if you go to a conference, I did this right after my dad died. I was really learning, and I would go to these conferences before I was licensed, before we had the company or anything. I would go to these conferences, and it was interesting because the sponsors of the conference were product manufacturers. This is the conferences that are giving continuing education training to the advisors. So the sponsors are the product manufacturers, which means they're also the dictators of the education and therefore also the presenters in the sessions that are providing CE credit to the people attending. So if you just go down the line, unless you're really strong-willed or you're an independent advisor, or, what we've tried to do is as an independent registered advisor, we chart our own course because we don't have to abide by those. And product manufacturers, we don't have to have the sales goals and quotas with those product manufacturers or anything like that, because we can make it all part of the client and their objective. And that is why when I say we've refined the process over time, we've refined it to figure out how we can help make wealth with no regrets about the person, about the client and their objectives, and let the products then serve the client instead of the other way around.
Yeah, well said. So, and this is the thing that I always like to bring this up, and I like to when we're kind of going through products and things like that, is that it still is, and it's a product, and it's okay. And these products, many of them were designed to do good. That's the thing. But, and sometimes they do, sometimes they're not always used in the most appropriate way. So there's just different ways to look at this. So, when you think about, I guess, understanding the aspects or just in general, like the role of money and what it plays in people's lives, like how do you have that conversation normally?
Well, that's a great question, because the role of money is about what the money does. It's not the money itself. Money is a construct that is a means of exchange between two parties. Money itself, whether it's a dollar or a euro or an asset, has no value in and of itself. The value comes from what we ascribe to it and what we want it to do for us. And so a lot of times people make mistakes by saying, well, this person owns real estate, I need to own real estate, or this person has a lot of cash, I need to have a lot of cash. Well, this person has a lot of stocks, so I need to have a lot of stocks, or, just take whatever that is. And it's really not about any one of those things or even the return that those assets or investments provide to someone over time. It really is about the role of money you want it to have in your life and what you want it to accomplish for you. So therefore, your vision and your picture of your future, your lifestyle, your family, and the causes that matter to you and how you want to give back is far more significant of a conversation than what is the asset or investment and what is the return you should get. And what's your risk tolerance in relation to that? No. That's the financial industry trying to control the narrative. When you come back and make it about you and what you want money to do, all that other stuff really just falls into place.
Well said. Tell me, just switching gears a bit here. So, build wealth like a shark. Like, tell me about what's the relationship between you and the shark.
Yes, sir. Well, the shark, Kevin Harrington, was the original shark on the Emmy Award-winning Shark Tank show, and is the inventor of the infomercial.
That guy, by the way. It's awesome.
He's a great guy. Yeah, Kevin's a great guy, great friend, and he was the inventor of the infomercial and owns the brand as seen on TV. And Kevin was looking for a way to help promote a message and people that were not only well-intentioned, well-meaning, but had a place to be able to implement that without having this circle of influence over them that kept it not about them. So we joined as one of a few select group of folks to join Kevin in putting together a book that helps people understand what are some of the ways that you can build wealth, attain wealth, accumulate wealth, and preserve wealth over time, just like Kevin Harrington, the shark, does. And he's a tremendous cheerleader, a brilliant mind, and a great friend.
Fantastic. Well, Barry, this has been really great having you on the show and just getting to know more about yourself. Of course, Wealth with No Regrets and your book. I mean, just lots of great things you have going on with the brand and just a lot of ways you're helping people. If somebody wants to follow up and to learn more and just to follow your journey, I mean, what's the best way for them to do that?
Sure. The best way is just to go to wealthwithnoregrets.com, wealth all spelled out, all the words spelled out, wealthwithnoregrets.com. And there's a place there to find all our content, an access point to our YouTube channel, a way for them to email me. You go on there, I'll get an email. And if someone wants to have a conversation, we can do that complimentary and just talk with them about where they're at and what might be some opportunities they have, and whether that has anything to do with us or not. I love helping people figure out what could be a great next step for them.
Fantastic, and we'll put all that information, of course, in the show notes so that our audience can just click on the link and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters, we're a platform that's all about bringing on entrepreneurs and executives and having them share their mission, having them share some tips that we can all learn from and really grow from. And if that's the type of content that you're into, we definitely welcome you to hit that subscribe button, because we have many more mission-based individuals coming up on the line, and we don't want you to miss a thing. And Barry, really, it has been a pleasure. Wishing you much more continued success, and look forward to following your journey. So thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Adam. Good to be with you, and appreciate the time.